Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Dream Big Today, and this is the Noon Nuggets. So, today I want to talk about Psalms 22, and it is verses 1 through 18. And this Psalms was written by David, and it is whenever you start reading it, then you're going to see a whole lot of descriptions and words that you've read in Matthew or any of the Gospels. There's 33 prophecies from this psalm fulfilled when Jesus was on the cross. And like I say, you're gonna hear some familiar words. Amazingly, David wrote this way before Jesus. It's and David went through a lot of bad things that he had to deal with. He sought God on stuff. He did a lot of things wrong, but he did a lot of things right. And so uh, he gives an amazingly accurate description of the suffering the Messiah would endure hundreds of years later. He was enduring some, but through his suffering, he, like the Messiah to come, gained victory. Do you want to have to go through that to gain the victory? Sometimes we've got to be brought down to our knees. It's a faith building time. It's a test. It's not a temptation, but a test. David goes on or begins with a cry. It's not a cry of doubt, but it's an urgent appeal. So the theme of this is a prayer that carries us from great suffering to great joy, despite apparent rejection by his friends and God. David believed that God would lead him out of despair. He looked forward to that future day when God would rule over the entire earth. So it, David had hope, and that's what we need to have. If we don't have hope, then we can sink into this big thing of depression and not be able to pull ourselves out. So let's look at this. Um, in I've got three Bibles out here, and I've written in my Passion translation, so that's the one I'm going to use. I've written all over it. So it says, my God, why would you abandon me now?" Now, these words was what Jesus spoke, and you can read about that in Matthew 27:46. This first two verses is the cry of the forsaken. "Why do you remain distant, refusing to answer my tearful cries in the day and my desperate cries for your help in the night? I can't stop sobbing. Where are you, my God?" Oh, I have experienced times that I was just so distraught over something that's happened that I can't even function. I just think, "Oh, Father, if you would just take away my pain, if you would just do this for me." I can't sleep. I can't eat. I don't want to do anything. I don't even want to get out of bed. I know some of you have felt that way too. But you know what? He's there. He's there through the tears. He catches all of the tears and puts them in a bottle. There's going to come a day when we'll see all of these bottles, or maybe it's just one humongous one with all the tears that we've shed, that he cared so much he caught every single one. After he makes this plea, this cry, then in verses 3, here is a remembrance of God's nature, and that's what we need to remember, right? I see Melissa and Nancy and Lynn's on, and all of these ladies I know have experienced the plea, the cry, but they have also experienced the touch and the healing. He says in 3, "Yet I know." Now I underline that. "I know that you are most holy. You are God enthroned, the praise of Israel. Our fathers' faith was in you. Throughout generations, they trusted in you." and you came through every time. I like to emphasize those words because it helps me when I'm studying it. Every time they cried out to you in their despair, you were faithful, Father. You delivered them. You didn't disappoint them. See, whenever he hears our plea, he already knows what's going on. So talk to him. Share your burdens with him, your grief, your happiness, everything about what is going on in your life. Share with him. And then, starting in verse 6, there is like mocking going on. He says, I am like a worm, crushed and bleeding crimson, treated as less than human. Now, that word for worm is tola, which is also word for crimson or scarlet. Tola was a certain worm used in Near East that when crushed it bled a crimson color so strong it was used for dyeing garments. Jesus was not saying that he was a despised worm, but he will bleed as he is crushed for our sins. And then he says, I've been despised and scorned by everyone, mocked by their jeers, despised by their sneers. And also the people poke fun at me, spitting their insults. Now remember, this is David writing this, but Jesus spoke these words in Matthew 27:39, saying, is this the one who trusted in God? Now let's see if Yahweh will come down to your rescue. Matthew 27:43. Let's see how much he delights in him. That's what all of the people that stood at the base of the cross said, but that's also how some of the people treated David. And then we go back to a plea. David, the singer, makes it personal, recalling the past. Good example for us. Make it personal. Lord, you delivered me safely from my mother's womb. You are the one who cared for me ever since I was a baby. See, we have children and we take some of those things for granted. It's a humongous miracle. And it's not an easy thing. But he was delivered safely. Since the day I was born, I've been placed in your custody. You've cradled me throughout my days, and you've always been my God. He's been with you, cared for you, watched over you, guided you, directed you, spoke to you ever since the day you were born. Now, did you listen to him? Sometimes you said, I don't want to do that today, God. I want to do my thing. And he was patient with you, waiting for you to come back and realize that, oh, no, Father, your way is better than my way. Verse 11 says, don't leave me now, for trouble is around me, and there's no one to help me. He alone is our help. And then the singer, David, explains and describes his situation. I'm surrounded by many violent foes, like bulls. Now, did you ever have a dream at night that you were being chased out in some open field by a bull? I mean, I've never had that happen, but I've had that dream many times. It's the craziest thing. But forces of evil encircle me like the strong bulls of Bashan. The root word for bull means to break or destroy. The word Bashan, also known as fertile land northeast of the Lake of Galilee, is also a word for serpent. So these represent many demonic spirits who came against the Son of God as he was being crucified. Now I'm completely exhausted. Every joint of my body has been pulled apart. My courage has melted away. Verse 15, I'm so thirsty and parched, my tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. Jesus thirst on the cross. John 19:28. And now you lay me in the dust of death. They have pierced my hands and my feet. Like a pack of wild dogs, they tear at me, swirling around me with their hatred. A band of evil men surrounds me. I can count all of my bones. Look at how they gloat over me and stare. And then verse 18. With a toss of the dice, they divide my clothes among themselves, gambling for my garments. You can see that in Matthew 27:35. So God's loving concern does not begin on the day that we were born and end on the day that we die. He has been behind and in front of our ancestors, preparing the mission that He has for us. Do you believe that today? There's something out there that He has for you, that He's protected you for. He's put you at this time in this place, that only you can fulfill this mission. Will you take it? Will you say, yes, Lord, send me? You're an apostle. You're ready to be sent. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a blessed afternoon and come back in the morning. I and Elizabeth will be here